Hello everybody and welcome back to the homestead. So it is getting chilly out and we are really wanting to sit up with some nice warm cozy meals, but it's also really a busy part of our season right now because we are continuing to homeschool and we're settling the homestead up for the winter. So I'm looking to get a lot more crock pot meals done or slow cooker meals. So this week I am going to show you 5 of my favorite fall slow cooker meals. Tonight I am going to do a nice creamy potato and bacon soup. So come along and I'll show you how I do that. Right, so in the slow cooker, I have 6 russet potatoes peeled and chopped. I have 2 small onions. I have 3 cloves of garlic, 4 tablespoons of butter, a teaspoon of salt, and I am just going to add 4 cups of chicken broth. I am going to put this on high for 4 hours, and then I'm going to come back and check it and add the rest of my ingredients. So I'm going to fry this bacon up nice and crispy so I can crumble it on top of the soup when it's done. So in a bowl, I am adding 1 cup of cream, heavy cream. I'm adding 1/3 a cup of sour cream. And I'm just going to mix this together. And when this is fully mixed in, I'm going to take it over to my fully cooked soup and just stir it right on in. So I'm just going to take my immersion blender and blend all of this up so it's nice creamy soup. This smells so incredibly good. Yum. All right, there is our soup. I topped it with some crumbled up bacon that I made before.
Everybody
this
down
is
this,
such
even
an amazing,
my son, who
hearty, and
typically
delicious
pretty picky.
soup. I cannot wait. All right, guys, so today is day 2, and I am going to be doing some honey apple pork loin. So I'm using 2 pork loins because a 4-pound pork loin would be best, but I only have 2 2-pound pork loins. So I will show you what I'm going to do to these pork loins, and I'm going to get them in my slow cooker. All right, so I'm going to take my pork loin and I'm using a serrated knife just to cut some slits down into the pork loin. I'm going about 1/2 to 3/4 of the way through, just so I can take apple slices and stick them into these spots so that those apples leave their delicious taste and juices into the pork loin while they cook. So I'm slicing up a nice Cortland apple, but you can use whatever apple you choose. And I'm doing some nice thick slices and I'm sticking them down into the slits that I made in these pork loins. So I'm going to chop up 1 yellow onion, and then I'm going to chop up the rest of my apple and put it in the bottom of the slow cooker under the pork. All right, so I have 1 white onion in here and the rest of my apple, and I am going to put a half a cup of butter in here. I am getting this recipe from themagicalslowcooker.com, and I'm really excited to see what it tastes like. All right, so there's my butter. It's actually probably closer to a cup, but that's okay because it's butter. So I'm just gonna split that up a bit. There we go. Okay, I'm going to add my pork loin. I'm going to do it without dropping my apples. There we go. Now I'm going to add 3/4 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of cinnamon and pepper if you'd like. I'm actually out of pepper, so I won't be adding that today. There's the cinnamon. And now I'm going to add a sprig of thyme. I have some fresh thyme here. If you have dried thyme, it would just be a teaspoon. But thankfully, mine hadn't died yet. So I'm just going to put that in there. And now I'm going to add some honey. All right, I added a 1/4 cup of honey on top of this. And now I'm going to cover and cook on low for 6 hours. This pork was amazing. So flavorful. I highly recommend that you guys make this. Just serve it with whatever sides you wish, and it's just a great meal. I'm definitely adding this. All right, everybody, so for today's slow cooker meal, we are doing a garlic parmesan chicken and potato dish. So I'll show you how I do this. I'm going to start off by throwing these guys in the cast iron pan with a little bit of bacon grease and getting a nice crust on the top. All right, while that chicken is searing, I'm gonna go ahead and get my other ingredients in the pot. I've got 2 cloves of garlic, pounds of cubed potatoes, a tablespoon of olive oil, a tablespoon of Italian seasoning, Parmesan cheese, salt and pepper to taste. And then you're just gonna stick your chickens on top of here. All right, so that's about good enough. And I'm gonna go ahead and get these into my slow cooker now. There we go. So you don't have to use chicken thighs. You can use chicken breasts as well. I would just cut them down a little smaller. So you are gonna put this on low for 6 hours or high for 4 hours. All right, here is the finished product. I just served it with a Caesar salad. Such an easy and delicious meal. Hello everybody, so today I am getting ready to cook up some chicken and wild rice soup in the slow cooker. I will show you how I do that. I am getting this recipe from damndelicious.com. So I'm starting off, I need 1 pound of chicken breast, but I actually have some canned rabbit that didn't fully seal, so I'm gonna use this instead. If you're looking how to can your own chicken or rabbit, I will link my video down below showing how I do that. So I'm gonna start off getting this in the slow cooker and then I'll show you the rest of my ingredients. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add my rabbit to my pot. If you're using chicken, you can do 1.5 pounds of chicken breast chopped up into small squares. Next, I'm going to add 6 cups of chicken broth. I'll add 1 cup of wild rice. I didn't have wild rice, so that's just black rice. I'm adding 3 cloves of chopped up garlic. And now I'm just going to cut up my carrots. I've got 3 carrots that I'm going to dice up here and toss in. Next, I have 3 stalks of celery that I'm just dicing up in small bits, and I'm going to put that in as well. Next, I'll add 1/2 teaspoon of rosemary and 1/2 teaspoon of thyme. I didn't have dried thyme, so I just stuck in a sprig of fresh thyme. I also have 1 pound of mushrooms. I added oyster and cremini mushrooms. All right, it's all set. I'm gonna put this on low and let it cook for 6 hours. So I'm gonna make a roux here with some butter and flour. Normally I eyeball my roux, but this time I was actually following a recipe and I ended up messing it up. So I should have just eyeballed it and done it the way I normally do. But the recipe calls for 1/4 cup of butter and 1/4 cup of flour to make your roux. I ended up with a bit more flour. So when I added my milk, it kind of made it a little bit chunky. So next time I'll just make sure that I eyeball it the way I normally do. All right, so next I just add a cup of milk, and then I also add 1 cup of half and half cream, and I stir it all together. I ended up getting a fork out to see if I could break up some of these chunks. Yeah, next time I make my roux, I'm just gonna make it my way instead of following the recipe. So once your mixture starts to thicken up and you end up with a nice thick cream sauce, white cream sauce, you can go ahead and add this to your soup. I found once that it was in there, it did actually make a really nice creamy soup. All right, so here's the finished product and it is absolutely delicious. I love this meal and highly suggest it. Great for a fall meal. All right guys, so it is Friday here and I am keeping things super simple. Normally I would make my own meatballs, but I am taking the easy way out today and using some frozen meatballs. So I am going to throw in some homemade ketchup, some homemade jam, put in the meatballs and let them cook on low for 6 hours. Right, so I'm putting in my homemade ketchup. It is just about 2 cups if you do not have your own homemade and you're trying to measure it out. You can also use a tomato sauce in here. The ketchup's just a little bit sweeter and it's what I had on hand. I also have the remainder of this currant jam that I made. Now, normally people put in a grape jelly or a grape jam, but I figure currant is fine. It's what I have. It's homemade and homegrown. So that's what I am going to use in here today. All right, so now that I've got that in there, I'm just gonna break the jam apart a bit, give it a stir, try and get it kind of mixed together a little bit. Then I'm gonna get my meatballs in here, stir them in a bit, and cook it on low. So super simple. And then you just add whatever sides you want to. I'm probably gonna do mashed potatoes and some fried cabbage, but you do whatever works for you. Some frozen vegetables or whatever is easy. This meal is absolutely perfect for a nice, quick, easy put together meal. So I'll just add my meatballs in there. And just gonna stir them in a bit. So the juices, once they get cooking, the juices will get going a bit more, but this is just the perfect amount to get these cooking. You can always double this recipe. I'm gonna get these cooking on low for 6 hours. All right, so there is the finished product. I just did up some fried cabbage with it. I left it to mashed potatoes because I pulled a muscle in my back and the least work possible was the best for me. So these meatballs are absolutely delicious. You can eat them just like this, or you can throw them on a sub bun and have a meatball sub. But this is a great fall meal for us. Cabbage and meatballs, delicious. All right, everybody, I hope you really enjoyed these meals. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button if you are looking for some more meal inspiration, suburban homesteading, or frugal meals. I have a lot of great stuff coming up, so make sure you follow and return to see what I've got. That's it for me for today, and I'll see you guys next time.